Hey, it's Lisa. Before we begin, here's why I'm bringing back this episode. This conversation with Elethia Gay first aired earlier this year, and it stayed with me. She argues that self care is not what you do after the work, it's how the work gets done. After we recorded, I decided this would be the year I took that seriously. Let's just say it's been a whirlwind, but that's another episode. I have thought about Alethia's words all summer. In 2 weeks, a new episode picks up where this one kind of leads off. What it costs when the things that fill you are the first to go. Listen to this one first. Then meet me back here on the 17th. Here's Alethea.
Every leader has a story, but the most powerful ones aren't the polished versions you see in the headlines. I'm Lisa Jones, and welcome to the Leadership Story, where we talk about real women, real leadership, and real resilience. Today, I'm joined by Elethia Gay, Global Training Manager, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and founder of Hiking for Hope. So here's the truth. If you're hitting a wall professionally, even though you're doing everything right, the problem isn't your strategy. You're running on empty. You can't lead effectively when you're burnt out and exhausted, period. And as Elethia reminds us, your body is one member. You can't compartmentalize yourself into work you and personal you. In this conversation, we're talking about why self-care isn't separate from your professional strategy. It is your strategy. Your health goals and career goals, same thing. One vision for who you're becoming. So today we're going to explore integrating self-care and wellness into your professional goals. And joining me today is Elethia Gay. Elethia holds an MBA and is a national board certified health and wellness coach and certified personal trainer. She is currently a training manager at a well-known American manufacturer of power tools, hardware, and home improvement products, where she develops transformative learning strategies that empower teams across the U.S. and India. She is also an author of Roots to Wellness and a contributor to Born to Risk, a collaborative project exploring courage, healing, and personal evolution. Her work bridges leadership, learning, and well-being in a way that's authentic and practical. Elethia, welcome to the Leadership Story.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm like, yes, I want to meet her.
Yes, like you feel fancy.
Right. Like, oh, she sounds great. Oh my God.
Exactly. So I just want to share. I want to share with our listeners how we met, because it was one of those
Absolutely.
stories that reminds me of why authentic connections matter so much. So
Yes.
we actually met at a birthday party.
Yes.
And not only did we share our career struggles, but ultimately we talked about concerts.
Yes.
We did karaoke.
Yes, Beyonce. Yes.
Oh, goodness. I just want to tell listeners, if you ever pick a Beyonce song or a Destiny's Child song, just know there's a lot of words that you really don't realize until you start diving in. So it was a lot, but we did great. I mean, sometimes she was the backup singer, sometimes I was the
Yes.
backup singer, so we supported each other through the whole thing.
Yes. Yes. It was so fun. So
Yes.
fun.
But we need to get into the story of Elethia, because I think
Yes.
I think the listeners will love just your journey and the things that you are providing to the world at this point. You are a global trainer. You're doing all these different things. But let's talk about your leadership journeys. You are a training manager and you develop strategies for teams across the US and India. And you didn't stop there, because now you chose to become a certified health and wellness coach and a personal trainer. So how did those experiences come together in your life? Tell me where this all came from.
Oh, wow, that is a very good question, especially when I hear the coach and personal trainer part of it, because you run into people nowadays and everyone that's like their second, almost everyone that's their second job. I'm a trainer, I'm a coach. And for me, it was less of just the title. It was a huge accomplishment for me because I grew up in a place where eating healthy, exercise, I saw it, but it wasn't the primary thing in a lot of people's lives. In
Right.
our lives, where I grew up, it was survival. Period.
Mm.
And
Yes.
so it didn't start out as a leadership journey, it was a life-changing journey because I realized the impact over time that, yeah, you have a job, but if you don't take care of your health, what do you have? And so the health portion of it started first. And I
Mhm.
always tell the story of coming home one day, and my mom, she's in the living room and she's exercising and she's doing Tony Little, and he's like, "You can do it." And she's working out, and I come home from school, and I'm like, I sit on the couch and I start laughing because of not at her, but listening to him. And I was like, "Ma, he's doing too much." And we didn't have that word at that time. It was something like, "Mommy, he
Yes.
whack." It could have been that word.
Right. Right.
But how's he doing? And she was like, the cancer that I had is because I work out. The reason why it's in remission right now is because I'm working out. She was like, how healthy and upbeat and the energy that I have right now, the reason why I'm not in chemo is because I'm working out, because I pray, because I take time to speak with God, because
Mhm.
I've changed my eating habits. And it just hearing her say that at the time, I didn't realize she was planting a seed. A lot of times when
Right.
things come to us, we look for like this flash of light or something, even to feel something internally. But God's voice is a whisper, and it seeps in without you even knowing it. Not at a subconscious level, it just comes on in. And that's what was happening. God was speaking through her. And probably a month later, I'm up there with her, like, "Come on, Mom, did you work out yet? Because he's about to be on. You can do it. Let's do it." And and I didn't realize that this journey was unfolding in front of me. So let's fast forward. I had my daughter, and I didn't realize what postpartum was. I just knew that I felt
Mm.
very depressed. I
Yeah.
was like, where are these feelings coming from? And things from my childhood that I once thought was my fault, I started to realize, wow, these are things that happened to me that I didn't have control over. So I went to a counselor and I was like, look, I need to put this into perspective because what's going through my mind right now as a mom, it doesn't feel good. This isn't pretty
Right.
and this isn't going to end pretty. So come to find out, I had, postpartum, and she was like, "You know what? Go for walks and you got to exercise and you got to move." I ended up going to the gym, and I remember being on the treadmill and seeing all of these people coming out of this class drenched with sweat. And I'm like, what? Because on this treadmill, I am not
N
sweating like that.
Correct.
But I didn't grow up in that environment. I
Right.
had no idea what they were doing. I remember stopping one of the people and I said, "Well, where are you guys coming from sweating like that?" And they was like, "Oh, cycling class. Have you ever tried it?" And I was like, "No." And I was so afraid. It just seemed like it was
Yes.
something for the elite because it was different.
Right.
And so one day I went with my old Gap t-shirt, this thin little t-shirt, some old sweatpants,
Yes.
joggers.
Yes.
We're just going into the class. And again, I didn't realize this was also because you asked about my leadership experience, but this was
Right.
part of it. This
Right.
was part of it. And so I go into the class, I take the class, and I remember the instructor coming over to me and I said, "Well, how do I fix this bike?" She said, "Well, you need to fix your gear first." She wasn't very nice, not
Oh.
nice at all. But
Oh.
I'm so grateful for her
Yeah.
because a few months later, I met a gentleman. He was standing outside, and I was like, "All right, I'm going to the spin class." He said, "You going too?" He said, "Well, I need a motivational speech." And I'm like, "He knows me," because I'm a speaker at the time. I'm like, "Oh my God, he knows who I am." He was
He
like,
knows who I am.
right. He was like, "I have no idea who you are, but it's nice to meet you."
Yes.
And we end up becoming good friends. And so we're in the class and we're cycling one day, and the instructor says they're having certifications for cycling instructors. This was not part of my journey, not part of my experience.
Not on your
I
bingo
look at
card at all.
Not at all. So I look at him. I was like, "Why don't you go?" I said, "Go ahead, go. Why don't you go out for becoming an instructor?" And he looked at me and he said, "Why not you?" And that was life changing for me. That altered my whole journey, and I didn't realize it. Again,
Wow.
when God speaks to you, it's a whisper.
Wow.
And so I said, all right, I'm gonna do it. I was scared as I don't know what, Lisa. I was like, what is this? What am I doing? I went to college. I don't, at this time I had my
Yes.
master's degree. I'm like, what am I going out for this
This
for?
right.
But what happened was it led me to not only becoming an instructor, but also uncovering a world of health and wellness that I didn't realize it was just so vast. It includes nature. It includes not only movement, it includes the words that we speak to ourselves. It includes responsibility, our ability to reduce stress and how we
Right.
choose to respond. It included so much, and it all started with you can do it, you can do it, and seeing my mother heal from cancer. I would say if anything is the start of my leadership journey, it was uncovering this world of health and wellness because I had to venture into a place that was so foreign and so scary and intimidating for me in order to impact my life moving forward. And I had no
Yeah.
idea that was part of the plan. And then the other stuff just came from sending my resume out and getting hired and just
That's just like small potatoes. I just sent out my resume, but I am like basking in all the things you said because first of all, that whole thing of God speaking in a whisper is similar to me even starting this podcast. God spoke to me in a whisper, and just like you was like, I'm not doing this. I'm scared. No, this is not for me. And yet
yeah.
you heard the voice and you did it. Also, the whole piece about exercise, I think, and I'm just gonna take it from just being in the Black community, we don't always focus on health and wellness the way probably better now than we did when we were growing up, but that wasn't something that was put into us unless we were wanted to be a basketball star, a football star, or maybe a track person. Outside of that, we weren't really taught exercising is important and our food is important unless we try to, I think late 80s, early 90s, everybody's mother was on someone's diet,
Mhm.
Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig or
Mhm.
so outside of that, I don't think we've ever were taught the importance of health, wellness, and food. So kudos
Mhm.
to you, the fact that you heard that and
Mhm.
that seed was planted in you. And Tony Little, God, my goodness.
That's yes.
He's still around. So yes.
God bless him and Richard
Yes.
Simmons and
Yes, yes. So not only have you incorporated health and wellness and as well as your career in getting your MBA, you also wrote a book and it's called
yeah.
Roots to Wellness. So tell me more about the book and what you want people to take
Mhm.
away from that.
Roots to Wellness is a journal. And the reason why I created the journal, it was during the pandemic. And I was just so confused between the emotions and the feelings and the differences between the two or how the two come together. Overall, at the heart of that was just self-expression. What was my condition at the present time and that responsibility, right? So what could I respond to based on how I was feeling, what was unfolding? And I just had to I started writing that out like, 1, what am I feeling? And then get into the heart of why I was feeling this way. And it wasn't so deep as I would spend hours like, well, I went to the store and I woke up and I stubbed my toe
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. What
Yeah.
what I'm feeling anxiety. Okay, well, what happened this day that's causing me to feel anxiety? And then what's my responsibility? What am I able to do at
Hmm.
this particular time? And it's not
Yeah.
like by doing this something automatically disappears. Not to mention doing doesn't necessarily mean getting up, going out and doing. Doing to me can mean being still and praying
Yeah.
and just allowing God to speak to you. I created this journal because when you write it out, it's tangible, you can see it, and it was a release for me, and I wanted to share that with others. And
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, you know what, God, everyone has like this idea of creating this bestseller in New York. Not everyone. I'm not going to say everyone, but a lot of people. I'm going to create this. It's going
Right.
to be a bestseller. That wasn't my thought at all. I just wanted to gift people a resource in order to express themselves.
I love that, and especially when talking about, to be honest, I'm a horrible journaler, but
Mm,
in the same vein, when I do sit down and actually write things out, it gives you a opportunity to let things go, like you said, release it, and it also provides some clarity because sometimes
yes.
what you're thinking and when you put words to how you're feeling and the
Yeah.
clear that you can be, it helps
Yep.
you really identify, things. And it's also better
Yes.
than just eating your feelings away, which, well, that's a
Wow.
whole nother, presentation itself.
Right. Right. Invite me
But
back
that
for
can
that one. Invite me back for that
yes,
one. 'Cause
yes, because sometimes that can be a good thing. Well, I'll say.
I know.
But no,
I understand.
I love that,
I
and,
understand.
really taking that time and being able to give that gift to people, that's great. Another thing that you have done, you are also the founder of Hiking for Hope, and this
Yes.
is something that we talked about at the birthday party. Again, we
Yes.
talked about so many things. It was just great. So, tell me about Hiking for Hope and your nonprofit that you started, and
Okay.
the reason behind it.
Okay. All right. Well, waterworks. I'm going to warn you about the waterworks.
Yes.
Yes, I feel this one is
Yes.
really close to my heart. Um,
Yes.
so hiking for hope during the pandemic, exercising indoors had pretty much come to a halt. And so people needed an option. And at first, it wasn't as many people outdoors because, like, being able to express yourself, giving voice to something that you're able to bring from the inside out, I felt the same way about exercise and fitness. Like that was indoors represented that internal self. Going outdoors was a little foreign to some of us, especially
Right.
those of us in urban areas. So
Right.
I started hitting up the people that I know, and I was just like, let's go for a hike, let's go for a walk, let's get outdoors. Nature is healing. Let's just go out. And it would be like 3, 4 of us, and I would notice after the hike how instead of people jumping in their cars and just driving away, how sometimes we do at the gym when we get off the treadmill, we drive off. I
Mhm.
noticed that there was this extended amount of conversation and people were not rushing off. And I was like, wow, we're building community around this little tree right here or in this parking lot.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic again, kept the hikes, and then I decided to move to Georgia during the pandemic. And I was part of this women's group on Facebook. And there was this woman and she had a podcast. She was incredible. A woman of God, just very strong and that young, early 30 something energy. And I
Yeah.
just loved her. And I remember looking at her and saying, you know what, I would really like to connect with her one day and speak with her, whether on her podcast or not. Just get some of that energy because I just loved it. And one day I went into the group on Facebook and I noticed her picture was up and it said in memoriam. And
Mm.
I'm like, "What?" And I said, "Wait a minute." And I looked and of course I started digging a little deeper. Well, come to find out over the weekend, her life had been taken by her partner, her and her son. Her
Oh,
son tried to defend his mother and both of them were shot and killed by her partner,
wow.
leaving I think one child, if I'm not mistaken. And I just I felt like I needed to do something. I don't know where that
Yeah.
feeling came from, but I was like, I want to do something. I want to do something. So I remember calling a friend of mine who was also a virtual instructor at the time, and we met just doing virtual
Yeah.
instructing for this company. And I was like, girl, I want to do something because this woman, she was a survivor of domestic abuse for obviously a certain amount of time. And now her
Right.
life has come to an end. What can we do? My friend said, well, I'm also a survivor of domestic abuse. I said, wow. I said, how can we join forces to just to bring attention to this? And
Yeah.
I said, I love to hike. She was like, all right, let's hike. So at first we were just gonna go out and hike, and then we were trying to come up with a name, and we were like, hiking for hope, because there is
Wow.
hope. There's hope.
Yeah.
There's hope in your story. And we found a few other instructors, and the whole goal was to not only bring people out into nature, but also show them how to reset in nature, whether we're doing yoga, whether we're cycling. A lot of those things that we did in the gym, we wanted to show them that you can also bring them outdoors. Because remember, this is a pandemic.
Yeah. Yes.
And we started, we had our first event, and it just went from there. And every time, even if it was a solo hike, just go out and see if I could raise money for a particular cause. And it's been that way for the last 5 years. In
Okay.
2025, I told you we
Mm.
were restructuring, and I was
Right.
just like, I was kind of burnt out. I was
Yeah.
sort of burnt out. And I was like, I felt like we were getting away from the original message and purpose and mission.
Right.
And this year, I decided to connect again with domestic abuse survivors. One I'm trying to reach out to is out here in Baltimore, and
Okay.
start hiking again and raising money. And if it's just one or two people going out, just to bring attention to this, then that's what it'll be. That's what it'll be.
Okay.
So we have that. We have the King's Hike, which are for the men, because the men deserve love too.
Yes.
They experience a lot as well,
Yes.
and they love resetting in nature with us.
I love it. So the next time you have one, please let me know. I will come to
Yes.
Baltimore and put on my
Okay.
hiking boots and convene with nature also.
Okay. Okay. Done.
Uh,
Done.
done. Wonderful. So let's shift gears a little bit and come to the meat of the story. As we are approaching or we're in a new season and a new year, it all comes down to setting professional goals, but you have a different twist. I'm going to set my goal is going to be professional development plans or revenue targets and promotion and timelines, but then we separately set health goals. My goal is to exercise more or my goal is to eat better and it kind of falls flat. But you approach this very differently. You talk about how you see the connection between self-care and personal development. So what is that connection and how do you approach that?
Mhm. Mhm. Self-care and professional development. For years we have heard about the work-life balance, right? And you are one person, the body is one member. You are you. Internally, psychologically, you're making that difference between the two, but you are one, your body is one member. And so it travels with you wherever you go. What I realized was that a lot of us skip self care in order to pursue professional development. And
Yes.
when we reach a certain goal, and especially if that goal is high in leadership, or we're making a certain amount of money, to us, that's success. And we don't realize how during that process, we may not have been giving ourselves the love that we need, the attention that we need, setting goals for ourselves the same way we would set them for a company. When I look at self-care, and self-care, people think of massage or getting more sleep, but it's so much more than that.
Mm.
Self-care is caring for yourself. So, what are those things that give you life? What are those things that help you thrive? Because, see, if you're thriving in your personal life, then that's going to just flow right into your professional life. And setting realistic goals, I think that to me is the foundation of it all. Because a lot of us, we go into our professional lives and we have like these huge goals, and God bless us if we accomplish it. But then in terms of your self-care has fallen by the wayside because you didn't set a goal for that. You didn't set that as a priority. So you've taken care of everyone else.
Mm.
You waited to put your oxygen mask on. And
Oof.
then now you're looking back and you're thinking, you're like, man, I am burnt out. I am tired. How did I get here? I don't even want this, you know? But
Yes.
you approach it so much differently when you're in love with yourself, because you're
Yes.
gonna bring that into that position that's maybe not, the best place for you at the present time, or it's not what you love doing, but you love you. So you bring that into the position. And a lot of us, including myself, forget that because we're chasing, we're paper chasing. And getting there and being able to enjoy it is not the same as just simply accomplishing, getting the title, getting the money, etc. It's a package. It's a package
Oh my
deal.
goodness. Yes. Being in love with yourself. I am going to put that you need to put that on a bumper sticker. Add that to your
Right? Look,
website.
I'm
Yeah,
writing
put
it
that
down.
yes, write that down. Be in love with yourself. I love that. We do forget that. We're doing particularly, I would say, as women, we tend to do for others first before we do for
Mhm.
ourselves. We always tend to leave ourselves as last. And
Mhm.
it's so important, like you said, we have to take care of ourselves in order to A, take care of others, to show up authentically, to be confident in ourselves. And if we don't take care of ourselves, how can we be productive in a way that is bringing value to our organizations? One
Mhm.
thing that I definitely identify with that because, again, I think for me in 2025, I neglected my self care. Just went back to the gym after a few months. It's been a minute, and
Mhm.
um, being revitalized just from going back to the gym and something that it definitely is a thing for I'm trying to do a little better at, so pray for me, pray for me,
Amen.
but yeah,
One day at a time.
one day at a time. When we
Mhm.
talk about when you truly talk about the uh goals, let's get a little practical. What are some of the things that we can do right now just to integrate wellness with our professional goals?
One of the biggest for me, because it's one thing to look outward and point out what everyone else is doing wrong, but I think the first example of what self care is should come from me. And so, something that I am personally working on is rest. Rest. Now, I know they say 7 to 8 hours every night. My body, 6 hours, it's up. It's like, "Hello, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We gotta run today? What are going on?" That's really how fast I talk, right? I'm from New York.
Yeah.
But my body is up. It's like, "All right,
Yes,
pray. Thank you, God, for waking me up this morning. Okay, what's next?"
yes.
Spirituality is a huge one for me, and I'll go into that in a minute, but
Mhm.
we have to rest because our body needs to reset. It needs to restore. And sometimes I just wrote a blog about this. Like we're trying to say, we try to say things like, when I was in college, I could go all night, so I could do it again. No, no, put
No.
the Red Bull down. No,
Yes.
no. Like
Yes.
real your body talks to you. It's telling you what it needs. There have been times where I was like, why do I want some broccoli and salad today? I come on now, come on, cake, cake, cake. I'm trying to
Right.
manifest cake. But my body was because your body's going to tell you what it needs. Times where you want ice. Is that your iron? Your body's
Right.
talking to you. So
Right.
rest is huge and being able to tune in and listen, that's what is important. That's one. Spirituality is huge for me. For me, everyone has a
Mhm.
different approach to it, but waking up in the morning, taking that first and fresh breath
Yes.
and saying, "Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Mhm.
What do you have in store for me today? I surrender," is a huge one because I am somebody who, at a very young age, had adult responsibilities. So I try to control a lot and not realizing that a lot of stuff is out of my realm of control, but when it fails, I would take personal blame for I would take it personally. Like, what did I do wrong?
Yes.
How can I just take a class and course on
Yes.
it? And God is like,
Yes.
that is just out of your control. Hire somebody, do whatever you or deal with it, but you're gonna have to heal that. You like all that right
Yes.
there. So spirituality is huge for me because it reminds me that I am not in control. I have to surrender. And once I surrender, then the clarity comes. The answers will come. And sometimes that
Yeah.
answer isn't necessarily what I want to hear, but it is what it is.
Oh my goodness. I was just
Yeah.
gonna I agree with all those things. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here like God must have said, I need to talk to her today because all those things you just said are all the things that are constantly in my thought process about,
Mm,
first of all, of getting rest. I'm similar to you. I may not,
mm.
the opposite is that I'm just a night owl. And no matter how much I try to get to bed early, my body says, no, let's, you're cute.
Yes.
You're really cute. Let's not, we're not. we're not doing that today. So, but I'm trying. I really am.
Mhm.
If I can get to bed a half an hour earlier than I did before, that's good. And I
Yes.
do sleep. So yes, I do see rest as being very important and spirituality. Yes, not trying to control everything because I can't control everything. And for the most part, some of the things that I try to control is because 'cause I'm sticking my nose into things I probably shouldn't do anyway. That's a whole again, we can talk for 10 more hours on
And
those
you know
things,
what?
but
You know what, Lisa, and hearing you talk, because I'm a night owl too. There will be times where I'm up like 2 in the morning. I'm like, this is okay, let me write. Oh man, it's clear now. It's clear now. So I am a night owl and things do kick in, the 10:30-ish time. But I also give myself a cutoff. I give myself a
yes.
cutoff. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, sometimes you wanna run with it, and sometimes I
Yeah.
have to say, "Lisa, just write it down and circle back
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow," because you can't
Mm-hmm.
change anything at 2
Mm-hmm.
AM. I
And
can
that's
probably think
hard.
of how I'm gonna change some things at 2 AM, but it's not gonna
Yeah.
change at 2 AM.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate the fact that you said how you do it because I
Mm-hmm.
think we tend to we talk high level, so
Yeah.
understand how we can put that and implement that into our daily lives. What would you
Yes.
say to someone who also says so, 2 things. One is, like, what would be the first thing if you could pick out of those 2 things that you said, what is the one thing you would say start with first?
The one thing I would start with first.
Someone who's just trying to implement,
Mhm,
just
mhm,
to start with something.
mhm. Well, I would say choose just what you just said, choose one thing first because,
Mhm.
oftentimes I don't know where I get the 7 resolutions thing from. Maybe that was something that, was quite popular when I was growing up, but I say start with one thing. And if it's low
Yeah.
hanging fruit, it's low hanging fruit for you, but go for it. So if you notice that you're waking up and you're tired every day, I mean, really deep dive into that. That was what I needed to do. I was trying to run my business and nonprofit and career and then daughter graduating from high school. And now I'm talking about, I'm like, oh my gosh, like Alethea, what were you thinking? Like, what were you doing?
Yes.
And I remember going to a sleep doctor because I can't think of the exact name right now. Oh gosh, what's the title for a sleep doctor? We could just call her
Oh,
the
sleep
dope sleep
doctor.
doctor because she was
Yes, there
dope.
you go.
And I remember going to her and I was telling her everything I was doing, and she was like, "We need to start there. First of all, your little list of to-dos."
Right.
And she was like, and then, strategizing around that and planning your days and making sure sleep is a part of that plan. A lot of times we'll plan our day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then we'll fall off from there, not recognizing the fact that we haven't included rest and sleep within that plan. I would say start with the not only the low hanging fruit, but something that you really feel is important and you're being impacted. Maybe you're noticing some deficiencies. Maybe your energy levels are really low. So approach that first because again, this is putting on your oxygen mask first, right? A
Mhm.
lot of times the first thing we see Meg the Stallion, her body, and we're like, oh, it has to be wellness. It does not.
No.
It does not. You really have to start with that one thing, especially if it's something that's nagging and it's
Yeah.
really causing you to not be as effective in other parts of your life. Start with that
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, and in saying that, what do you say to people that say, "I don't have time for self-care, like, I'm barely keeping up with the work demands?" Like, I think you kinda touched on a little bit saying that you have to schedule those things, but how do you combat that or give them assurance that you can fit those things in?
You know what, Lisa? There are a lot of coaches that will give people advice, right? They will give them a list, they will give them approach, they will give them a technique, they will give them a resource. I realized a few years ago, I'm not that coach.
Yeah.
I am not that coach that people have to come up with their own answers. You are your best coach. So, in terms of how I would do it personally, one, when we look at self care, there's a lot of ambiguity built into that term, as I mentioned earlier, because we're like, what's that? Is that a massage? Is that this? Is that? Self care is caring for yourself. And I'm going to add first. So wherever, again, you're noticing that deficiency, or you're noticing this one thing is keeping you from being able to go out and walk. Right. I can say, well, if you need to walk and you need time and you need air, just go out and start walking. But if you don't have the right walking shoes, or your feet hurt every time, then you're probably going to walk a few days and you're going to stop. And so you have to get to the source of it. Do you need just something as simple as new shoes? Well, go out shopping for some new shoes. You walk a few blocks, you're breathless. Well, you got to get to the heart of why you're breathless first before you sit there and try to walk a mile. And so I would say start with that one thing, whatever seems like it's a roadblock to you or an obstacle to you. Care for that first, because the body's one member. So if it's something that's deficient or in a way or presenting an obstacle, you have to resolve that first. And that's where your self-care begins.
My goodness. So you have 2 bumper stickers. You have love it, love yourself, and your body is one member. Right? Please write those down.
Yeah.
I'm going to get t-shirts for you and put that on there because I love those. We're going to wrap this up. And the one question that I ask all my guests, and I'm going to ask you also, what is that one word that would describe your leadership story and why?
That one word that would describe my leadership story and why. And I was going to say another word, and this other word dropped into my spirit, something that I normally wouldn't say. In the past, I wouldn't say it because of humility, but I'm going to say courage. Be unafraid. And when fear comes up, if you can just speak to it and convert that into faith, then you are on the right track. The courage to speak up, the courage to put yourself first, the courage to say the things that other people won't say, the courage to be honest and transparent. It all started with this seed of courage, the courage to step into who I am and not give a damn what other people are saying or what they think.
Oof, I love it. Elethia, thank you so much. Where can people connect with you and, find out more about your wellness coaching, or just keep tabs or connect with you? What's the best way for people to connect?
Well, we were talking earlier about my marathon journey. And so
Yes.
So
that's a whole nother thing.
Yes. Yes. I know. So one way is Instagram, Elethia Gay. You can also visit my website, elethiagay.com, and I'll spell that out. It's ELETHIAGAY.com. And Elethia, I would like to share, Elethia means truth. So let's talk about some truth right here.
Yes.
Have a discovery call and just uncover that thing that will give you what you need to thrive.
I'll have all the links to Elethia in the show notes and on my Substack page. So first of all, Elethia, thank you so much for joining the Leadership Story. I know that this will bless as well as reach many people. And until we meet again at our next concert or karaoke time,
new edition or something. We talked about it. So
yes, we're working on it. So thank you, Elethia.
Thank you, sis.
Be in love with yourself, not selfishly, but strategically. Because when you love yourself first, you bring that energy into everything you do. So pick one thing, not 7 resolutions, just one thing that's holding you back. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's movement. Start there. Connect with Elethia on Instagram at Elethia Gay, or visit elethiagay.com to book a wellness discovery call. Also, check out Hiking for Hope and sign up for the next event. Subscribe to the Leadership Story on Substack for exclusive content, resources, and to join our community of women redefining leadership. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. If this resonated with you, share it with another woman who needs to hear it. Remember, your wellness is the foundation of your leadership. I'm Lisa Jones, here to help you discover the leadership story you were meant to tell.